he says, "Are you willing to kill her again?" And he stops, he freezes, he hesitates, you know, and then he sheets it back up, he runs in, he grabs her. As he grabs her, the demon stabs Basara in the back. And after I get done finished talking about this, I'm going to show you guys the clip. It is fucking crazy, you know. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to Emerson Speaks. Today we're going to do episode 3 of the Testament of Sister New Devil, Reunion and a Gap in Trust. Now there's a lot that happened in this episode, so please bear with me. So in the last episode, Yuki told Mio to stay away from Basara, right? But you didn't learn that Mio is a mid-S rank surveillance target because of the demon powers that she has in her, so the hero of clans are watching her right now as an observation. So then Maria tells Mio to not worry, that they don't need enemies and they need to make as many allies as they can because they don't have the strength or power to go against all these demons that are going to be coming after them, right? She flushes while in the restaurant where Yuki and Basara are after she says she's concerned about his safety. So then Basara leaves the shop. He has a bag with him. He says, "I hope that's enough." And then he turns to his right and Yuki's right there and he's like, "Hey, leave Mio alone." And then Yuki tells Basara that he can't defeat the enemies that are going to be coming after him or Mio and Mariah. And he says, I don't need to win, I just need to avoid losing. And after he says that, Yuki draws her sword and she charges but turns in the opposite direction and slays a demon that was behind her. So then that's over. Basara's at the house. He's informing Mio and Mariah about the whole situation and stuff. And Mariah, she's like, "Yeah, I agree." And then she starts babbling about trust and how they need to deepen the trust and bond between each other. And he's like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" So Mariah offers up the idea that they all bathe naked together. So then Basara's in the bathtub naked. He has like a little towel on around his dick and ass. And then Mio has a towel on around her breast. You know, so she starts rubbing his back, she's washing his back, and then Mariah's like, so Mio lets her towel go, her titties are out, she just grabs him and hugs him. He's like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, don't move, you know, and then she starts like rubbing her titties up against his back, and I'm like, whoa, things are getting pretty escalating, like. And then he's like, "Well, we can't do this, you know, I have cake for us to eat, you know." And then Mariah comes in with the cake and she's like, "Here." She offers the cake to Basara, but it drops on the floor, some gets on his arm, and then they're like, "Oh no, it would be a shame, it would be disrespectful to not eat the cake, you know, I'll at least eat what hasn't fallen off." So then they start licking his arm and, you know, he stands up and he has a major nosebleed, passes out, he wakes up in bed, Mariah's right by him looking at him, and then she's like, "Hey, can you get your hand off my butt?" You know, and then he freaks out, he apologizes. Then after that, Mio's in the classroom. She's reminiscing and thinking about what has happened between Yuki and Basara. And then they say that they have to organize some papers and stuff. It'll be Takigawa, Basara, and Yuki. And then like she gets jealous or whatever. She's like, "Well, at this point I can't trust Basara," you know. Then her curse mark activates, and it'll only activate when the slave or whatever thinks something bad about the master. And then he's like, "Mio, what's wrong? You know, why does that activate?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm fine." And she passes out, you know, wakes up in the nurse's office, and the nurse's name is Hasegawa Chisato. And she asks Basara, you know, "How does it feel to have every guy in the school your enemy?" And he's like, "Well, what can you do when you have enemies and you didn't intend to?" You know, she's like, "You should choose quality over quantity, you know, decipher who's your enemy and who's your ally. You need to build up more allies." And he's like, "Oh, she's an odd one." You know, so he goes out, he gets a drink, you know, he's drinking some water, he's on the phone, he turns around and he's spooked out because Takigawa's right there, you know, and then he's like, "Oh, where's Yuki?" And he's like, "Well, Yuki said she was going to go see Mio." And he's like, "Oh shit," you know. So as soon as he's about to take off and go to Mio and make sure she's okay, there's a power outage. The lights go off. He looks down the hallway and there's some low-level demons, right? They're like wolf demons. They come after him. Takigawa can't see him, so as they approach, Basara goes up in front of Takigawa and he elbows him, knocking him out. He comes in, slash, slash, slash. You know, after that he runs. He's wondering where she's at, and he uses the little curse activation thing to find out where she is. And Yuki came to Mio. She's like, we need to talk. They're on top of the balcony. She's like, you need to stay away from Basara. You know, you've caused him so much pain. You know, and then you find out that 5 years ago, how Basara saved her is that he eliminated all of his comrades. And by doing that, he and his father lost their trust and the right to be in the hero clan because of that. She said how Mio doesn't know how much pain it causes Basara to even hold his sword, how he can barely even hold it, you know. So she charges at her. They're using their magic against each other. And then Mio tells Yuki how they're family and stuff like that. And then Yuki's like, don't ever say such foolishness again. You know, you don't know anything about him. So she comes in and she's about to deliver the last blow. Basara barges in. Boom. Yuki, what the fuck is all this? You know, what the hell is going on? You know. And then he's like, Mio, you said you would not make an enemy. And then she's like, well, and then as she's about to explain, this guy, this masked man, he's on the roof and he's like, they were talking about your past. He said, moments ago, they were talking about your past, how you were exiled from the clan. And then he said how it was interesting how after he was exiled from the clan, you know, he decides that he and his father would protect the child of the Demon King, you know. And then she's like, well, Mio, Yuki tells Mio that, hey, Basara has been fighting every night, you know. The masked man is like, he's been fighting every night for your safety, you know. And then she's like, well, all those times that Mariah didn't come to get us, and they were like, yeah, she was out fighting demons, you know. And then she was like, this is all my fault, right? And he was like, no, it's not your fault. And then the masked man, he's like, no, your very existence is everything. It's all of it's your fault. And then she's like, oh my god. And he's like, if you think it's your fault and it's such a shock to you, why don't you just offer up those demon powers and hand them to us already? So enjoy, guys. Be sure to subscribe.